to another edition of Finding Your Frequency. I'm Brian Sexton, dialing in from Kansas City, and pleased, as always, to join Dr. Josh Wilkerson from Restoring Mathematics. Dr. Wilkerson, how are things in Texas today?
Things in Texas are great as always, Brian.
That's what we hear consistently from folks in Texas. You know, at Restoring Mathematics, you talk about restoring faith in the mathematical education process. When you get to the end of that, what does it look like to folks who want to see that happen? What does success look like for you guys at Restoring Mathematics?
I think ultimately what we see as a success is we see that teachers become more empowered to be excellent storytellers of mathematics in their classroom, that they feel less like they're delivering a scripted curriculum or trudging through problems, but they feel like they can pose questions and stories to their students that lead them to wonder and be curious about the material that they're learning. And it's interesting and it's engaging. And a good storyteller can take any topic and really make it meaningful for the student. And that's what we really want to see from math teachers, is that they have that confidence and that ability to be that engaging in the classroom.
I love to hear the words engaging and storytelling around mathematics, because the average person wouldn't think in terms of telling a mathematical story. They would think in terms of literature. And we've got one of your great co-workers there at Restoring Mathematics, one of your great storytellers, Karen Berlanga, who joins us from Austin, Texas. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
Hello. Great. Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you.
So, Karen, I got asked the question, so now I have to ask you the same question. What's that answer for you? What does it look like to be a storyteller of mathematics in your classroom or when you work with teachers?
Yeah. So I work in a like the lower elementary, currently teaching kinder, but I work with teachers all in the lower grades. And really, I think of, a great storyteller, like Josh said, can really make any story come alive through their presentation, their engagement in the story, and their audience. I mean, you could have like a really boring story and it can come alive in the way that the person tells the story. So in the same way, our math teachers can be those great storytellers, taking patterns that we see in the world, displaying them for their students in a way that feels like a great story is just unfolding. So, I think of it, we're really kind of opening the book for them, lighting a path, for our students to discover math through the lens of curiosity and wonder, and not just reading a book, to not just showing problems to them and saying, okay, now do what I do. So really engaging them in awe-filled moments and discovering patterns themselves.
So in order to achieve that, what's maybe one or two kind of key practical pieces of advice that you offer to teachers, things that they could start doing tomorrow in their classroom to really become these great storytellers that we talk about? Right.
I think it's important for teachers to realize that students should be doing the majority of the thinking during the lesson, and really using the objectives of the lesson to guide the planning. So I think it's really tempting for teachers to just follow a teacher's guide to a T, like a script, but that doesn't really instill wonder and curiosity in students regarding math. So a class should really have dialogues and challenges and problem solving and play, so kids are engaged and building an affection for math. So I encourage teachers to find whatever curriculum they're using, to find the activities, find the games that are surrounding that topic, and then build your lesson around that game rather than using them as supplemental exercises that we never really have time to get to because you're too busy doing all the worksheets that are supposed to go with that lesson. So build your lesson around the games so the kids are thinking rather than you just modeling things and then doing math on paper. Then your students are really doing the thinking rather than you just talking the whole time.
You've been in a lot of classrooms. You've done these practices a lot in your own classroom. What are the differences that you see in the students who learn using these types of methods?
Yeah, so when I think of classical education, I think our end goal is being the good man speaking well, and what I notice is kids who are engaging in activities and games for their learning, they are confident to speak about math. Whereas a lot of times in a traditional classroom, a kid may be able to fill out a whole worksheet, but if you ask him out of context, let's say for kindergarten, what does the number 12 mean? They'll just write a 1 and a 2. Whereas, kids that are engaged in these things, they can show me, well, I know that 10 and 2 make 12. So if I take one of these tokens over here from 10 and I move it over here, I've got 9 and 3, and 9 and 3 make 12. And so kids that come out of a program like this, one, they can speak about math well, they can communicate their ideas clearly, and also they really enjoy math. They don't think that math is just a worksheet. And I love that, because math is more than that. Math is just a written form of what we see and observe in the world. And so I feel like the affections and their enjoyment of math is a huge change when we focus on teaching math classically.
And if I could follow up with both of you, how important, if it is important, that parents become storytellers of mathematics?
Well, I think it's really important for parents to understand that they are telling a story, whether they realize it or not. When parents say things like, "Oh, I was never really good at math," like, "Go ask your dad or go ask your mom how to solve that." We are telling a story to the students, and we're telling them that math is really not important. Look, I've lived my life and I'm fine, and I've never gotten it and I've never understood it. That's the underlying message that the students, your child is receiving. And so I think it's really important that we form it in a positive way. Say, you know what, I'm not really sure how to do that either. Let's learn this together. And to take that kind of growth mindset towards it, the parents need to be bought in on that as well. And just reframing that. I mean, a parent, we never really hear people say, "Oh, I never was good at reading, so don't worry, you'll be fine. I never was good at it either." And so I think it's important we don't say that about math either. So just reframing that we are setting a positive message around math learning is really important.
Yeah. And I agree 100% with everything Karen just said. I think it's important for parents to know that every parent is a math teacher. They're constantly teaching math to their students in the way that they themselves talk about it. So even if they don't feel like they're really communicating anything because they're not talking about a specific mathematical, like arithmetic concept or something like that, like their language, their own body language and posture toward mathematics is communicating something about mathematics to their kids. And so it is really important. We try to flip that script as much as possible in terms of Karen talked a second ago about games being important, and there's a lot of great resources for just fun math-based games for early age students that can really kind of start setting the tone that, like, not only is this enjoyable, but from a parent perspective, the kids see their parents having fun and engaging with the content as well. And that really shapes their mindset in those formative years that they can see themselves as mathematicians as they get older.
Storytelling and mathematics, an innovative combination, and the work that you guys are doing at Restoring Mathematics. For more on what they're doing, go to restoringmathematics.com. And of course, you can find all the information in our show notes. Karen Berlanga, thanks so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here.
And Dr. Wilkerson, we'll see you on the next edition of Finding Your Frequency.